The rain slams against my Brooklyn apartment window like tiny bullets, shattering the suffocating silence on the night of February 15th, 2025. I stand there, my duffel bag still slung over my shoulder, rainwater dripping from my leather jacket onto the hardwood floor in jagged streaks. I'd just gotten back from a 3-day stint in Philadelphia, digging into a pharma corruption case, the kind of grimy work I live for. My name's Riley Maddox, 32 years old, a freelance investigative journalist with cropped green hair and a habit of pissing off the powerful. But nothing in my years of staring down crooked CEOs or dodging threats in dark parking lots could have braced me for this moment. My phone sits on the kitchen counter, its screen glowing with a new voicemail, and when I hit play, Ethan's voice, my husband's voice, cuts through me like a freshly sharpened blade. "Riley, I need new space. Don't look for me. Good luck." 3 short sentences, delivered with the cold, polished edge he uses when pitching to investors in Manhattan, where he works as a financial hotshot in a gray suit and a smile that once made my heart skip. I freeze, my breath catching in my throat, not from heartbreak, but from a shock so deep my body forgets how to move. This isn't a goodbye from the man I've loved for 5 years. The one who held my hand under a rainy Central Park sky and whispered we'd grow old together in this cramped little place. This is an execution of our marriage, sent through a goddamn voicemail that doesn't even clock 10 seconds. I don't cry. I don't scream. I just stare at the phone, willing it to jump up and explain why Ethan, the man I trusted more than myself, could erase me from his life without even meeting my eyes. The apartment's too quiet, the rain and my pounding heartbeat the only sounds filling the void. I stumble to the counter, my hand trembling as I grab the phone, like it's a live grenade about to blow. That's when I notice Ethan's drawer, the one where he keeps random junk like pens, bills, and the occasional Advil, cracked open just a hair. Ethan's the kind of guy who's obsessive about order, folding his shirts by color and griping when I spill coffee on his desk. An open drawer isn't an accident. It's a sign, a glitch in the perfect wall he's built around me. I yank it open, my pulse racing as my fingers sift through the mess of old papers, an electric bill, a coffee receipt, and a scribbled note about a DC meeting. Then, beneath it all, I find it, a black USB drive, no label, lying there like a secret begging to be cracked. I pick it up, the plastic cool against my palm, and a bad feeling surges through me like a tidal wave. This isn't something Ethan forgot. This is something he didn't want me to see. I cross to the small table in the corner where my dusty laptop sits from the trip and plug the drive in with a sharp click. The screen flares to life, revealing a mess of encrypted files and one Excel spreadsheet titled Pension Fund? Titan Project. I open the spreadsheet and the numbers dance in front of me like a financial nightmare. $50 million, funneled through offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands and Switzerland, then landing in a name that chills me to the bone, Senator Lila Grayson. I know Lila. She's the rising political star in Washington, D.C., all perfect smiles on campaign posters and fiery speeches about justice for the working class. But now I see something else. $10 million from a pension fund, money for thousands of American workers, was siphoned into her personal account last week. Ethan Voss's digital signature stamped right below it. This isn't just personal betrayal. This is a scandal big enough to burn a city to the ground. I let out a sharp laugh, the sound scraping out of my dry throat like broken glass. Ethan, you just made the biggest mistake of your life, I mutter, my grip tightening on the USB until my nails dig into my skin. I'm not the type to crumple in a corner over a cheating husband. I've faced down corrupt execs in Detroit, had a gun waved at me in a parking lot, and still lived to splash it across the New York Post's front page. But this is different. The traitor isn't some stranger in a fancy suit. It's the man I shared a bed with, the one I thought I'd build a family with in this tiny apartment. I scroll through the other files, my heart hammering as encrypted emails between Ethan and Lila flash by. Phrases like, "Handle Greg," and "make sure no one knows," slicing through me like knives. Then my phone rings, snapping me out of the chaos in my head. Unknown number. I pick up, my breath hitching as a low, dangerous voice growls through the line. "Riley Maddox, stay out of things that don't concern you, or you won't get another chance to write your little stories." The call cuts off before I can answer, leaving me stranded in the dim apartment, the rain still pounding outside. I glance at the window, feeling invisible eyes piercing through the thick curtain of water. I've been threatened before, but this feels different, the icy certainty of someone who knows I'm already trapped. I take a deep breath, my hand still clenched around the USB, and whisper to myself, "Ethan, you didn't just walk out on me. You dragged me into a deadly game, and I'm gonna make you regret it." I open my messages, my fingers flying as I type to Juniper Hayes. "June, my best friend and the sharpest hacker I know. You free? I need a hack fast. Ethan didn't just betray me, he betrayed the whole damn world." I hit send, and in the shadows of my apartment, under the relentless roar of the rain, I know one thing for sure. My fight's only just begun. The rain hasn't let up, hammering my Brooklyn apartment like it's trying to drown out the chaos spinning in my head. My phone still warm in my hand from that cryptic threat, the voice echoing like a ghost in my ears. "Stay out of things that don't concern you." I'm Riley Maddox, and I don't scare easy, but something about that call, the way it cut off so sharp, sends a shiver down my spine that I can't shake. The USB sits on the table next to my laptop, its black shell glinting under the dim kitchen light, taunting me with secrets I've only scratched the surface of. Ethan's voicemail loops in my mind. I need new space, a cold slap that's starting to feel like the least of my problems. I need answers, and I need them now. I sink into the chair, my wet jacket creaking as I lean forward, replaying every moment with Ethan I'd brushed off as nothing. Those late nights he'd claimed were crunching numbers at his Manhattan office. The sudden weekend trips to D.C. he'd called client meetings. The time he left his phone on the counter and I glimpsed a text from L.E., "Meet me tonight, don't let her suspect." I'd laughed it off back then, figured it was some overeager assistant, but now it's clear as day. Her was me. And LG wasn't just anyone. It was Senator Lila Grayson, the woman whose name's plastered across that spreadsheet, tied to $50 million in stolen pension funds. My stomach twists as I open the encrypted emails again, scanning for clues. One catches my eye, dated a week ago. "Ethan, to Lila. Transferred the $10 mill to Cayman as discussed. Greg's asking questions. What's the plan?" Lila's reply is short. "Handle it. He's a loose end." Handle it? My blood runs cold. Who the hell is Greg, and what did Ethan do to him? I don't get long to think. My phone buzzes again, another unknown number, and I hesitate before answering, my thumb hovering over the screen. Riley Maddox. It's the same voice, low and menacing, but this time there's an edge to it, like he's losing patience. "I warned you. Drop it, or you're done." Before I can snap back, the line goes dead, and I'm left staring at the rain-streaked window, my reflection a blurry mess of green hair and clenched fists. I'd been threatened before, had my tires slashed after a story on a shady Detroit exec, but this feels personal, like they know exactly where I am. I grab my laptop and the USB, shoving them into my bag. I can't stay here, not with that voice ringing in my ears and Ethan's betrayal sinking deeper into my bones. I text June again, my fingers flying across the screen. "They're watching me. Meet me at the usual spot. Bring your gear." Juniper Hayes, my best friend and the only hacker I'd trust with my life, replies instantly, "On my way. Don't do anything stupid till I get there." I almost laugh because stupid's my middle name when I'm pissed, and right now, I'm a volcano ready to blow. I throw on a dry hoodie, pull the hood low over my face, and slip out the back door into the alley, the rain soaking me in seconds as I weave through the shadows of Brooklyn. Every splash of my boots feels like a countdown, every flicker of a streetlight a potential threat. I keep my head down, dodging puddles and late-night stragglers until I reach the old diner on Flatbush Avenue, our usual spot. A greasy spoon with chipped mugs and a jukebox that hasn't worked since the 90s. June's already there, hunched over a corner booth with her laptop and a half-eaten slice of pepperoni pizza. She looks up as I slide in, her wild brown curls spilling out of a messy bun, and shoves the pizza box toward me. "You look like hell, Rye," she says, her voice a mix of worry and sass. "What's Ethan done now?" I pull the USB from my bag and slide it across the table, keeping my voice low. "He didn't just dump me, June. He's in bed with Lila Grayson, and I mean that literally and figuratively. They've siphoned $50 million from a pension fund, and someone's threatening me to keep quiet." Her eyes widen, but she doesn't miss a beat, plugging the drive into her laptop and cracking her knuckles like a pianist about to play a symphony. "If we're dying over this, I'm blaming you," she mutters, but her fingers are already flying across the keys. The diner's hum fades as June digs into Ethan's email account, pulling up threads I hadn't cracked yet. One from 3 days ago stops me cold. "Ethan to Lila. Greg's onto us. He's got proof. I can stall him, but not long." Lila's response is a single line, "End it, now." My mouth goes dry, and I grab June's arm. "Greg. They keep mentioning a Greg. What the hell does end it mean?" She frowns, cross-referencing the name with the spreadsheet. "Greg Parker, accountant for the Titan Fund. Last login to the system was a week ago, then nothing. He's a ghost." A ghost. The word hangs heavy between us, and I feel the diner walls closing in, the smell of burnt coffee turning sour in my nose. Did Ethan just cheat on me? Or did he help cover up something worse? Before I can process it, the diner door swings open and 2 guys in black jackets step in, their eyes scanning the room like predators. I duck low, my heart slamming against my ribs as June whispers, "Rye, we've got company." One of them locks onto me, his hand slipping into his coat, and I know we're out of time. "Back exit," I hiss, grabbing my bag as June slams her laptop shut. We bolt through the kitchen past a startled cook flipping burgers and burst into the alley, the rain hitting us like a slap. Footsteps pound behind us, and I hear a shout, "Stop, Maddox!" I don't look back. Just grab June's hand and run, my boots slipping on wet pavement as we dart through the maze of Brooklyn streets. We lose them after a half-mile sprint, ducking into a shadowed doorway near Prospect Park, our breaths ragged and steaming in the cold air. June clutches her laptop like it's a lifeline, her voice shaking but fierce. "Rye, this isn't just about Ethan screwing you over. That $50 million, Lila's campaign, Greg disappearing, it's a goddamn conspiracy. And they'll kill us to keep it buried." I nod, wiping rain from my face, my mind racing as the pieces click together. Ethan didn't just walk out on me. He dragged me into a war I didn't sign up for. But I'm not running away. I lean against the brick wall, the USB burning a hole in my pocket, and mutter, "They want to fight? They've got one. Let's take these bastards down." My chest heaves as I press myself against the wet brick wall in that shadowy doorway near Prospect Park, the rain still pounding down like it's trying to wash away the mess I've stumbled into. June's beside me, her laptop clutched tight, her wild curls plastered to her face as she catches her breath. We've just outrun those goons from the diner, their footsteps fading into the storm, but my pulse won't slow. hammering in my ears like a war drum. I'm Riley Maddox, and I've got Ethan's USB burning a hole in my pocket, $50 million in stolen pension funds lighting up my laptop screen, and a death threat hanging over me like a noose. I wipe rain from my eyes, my green hair dripping into my vision, and glance at June. "We can't keep running," I say, my voice rough but steady. "I need to face him." She nods, her jaw tight. "Then we hit him where it hurts. Let's get somewhere safe and crack this wide open." We slip through the park, sticking to the shadows of towering oaks, the muddy path sucking at my boots as we head for a cheap motel on the edge of Brooklyn, a place I've used before when a story got too hot. The neon sign buzzes faintly as we check in under fake names, the clerk barely looking up from his phone. Inside the cramped room, the air smells like stale cigarettes and regret, but it's dry, and that's all I care about. June sets up her laptop on the wobbly table, her fingers flying as she digs deeper into the USB's files. I pace, my wet hoodie clinging to me, replaying that last email. "Greg's on to us. End it." My gut twists every time I think about it. Greg Parker, the accountant who vanished, the loose end Ethan and Lila handled. I stop mid-step, turning to June. "Tell me you've got something." She looks up, her eyes gleaming. "Oh, I've got more than something. Ethan's been sloppy. Bank logs, voice memos, the works. He's neck deep in this with Lila." She pulls up a recording, time-stamped a week ago, and hits play. Ethan's voice crackles through the tinny speakers, tense and jittery. "Greg's got proof, Lila. He's threatening to go to the feds. What do we do?" Her reply is ice cold, smooth as silk. "You stall him. I'll take care of the rest. No loose ends, Ethan." The audio cuts out, and I feel the room tilt, my hands gripping the back of a chair to steady myself. "Take care of the rest," I mutter, my voice shaking with rage. "They killed him, June. Ethan didn't just cheat on me. He's a murderer's accomplice." June's face hardens. "And we've got the proof. But we need to move fast. They're not chasing us for fun." I grab my phone, my mind made up. I'm going to Ethan. He's at his office in Manhattan, probably packing to run out before this blows up. I want him to look me in the eye and admit it. June grabs my arm, her grip fierce. "Rye, that's suicide. Those guys will be watching him." I shake her off, my laugh bitter. "Good. Let them see me coming. I'm done hiding." She curses under her breath but starts packing her gear. "Fine, but I'm your backup. We're not dying in some skyscraper tonight." An hour later, I'm standing in the pouring rain outside Ethan's office tower on Fifth Avenue, the glass facade gleaming like a monolith against the stormy sky. I've ditched the hoodie for a black cap pulled low, slipping past security with a fake maintenance badge June whipped up. The elevator ride to the 45th floor feels endless, my reflection in the mirrored walls showing a woman I barely recognize, eyes sharp and wild, ready to burn it all down. The doors slide open, and there he is, Ethan Voss, standing by his desk in a crisp gray suit, shoving files into a briefcase like a man who knows the clock's ticking. He doesn't hear me at first, too focused on his escape. But when I step into the room and slam the door shut, he freezes, his head snapping up. "Riley," he says, his voice a mix of surprise and dread like he's seeing a ghost. "You shouldn't be here." I pull the USB from my pocket and toss it onto his desk, the clatter echoing in the sterile silence. $50 million, Ethan. Pension funds. Lila Grayson. Greg Parker. "You want to tell me how deep this goes, or should I play the tape?" His face pales, but he recovers fast, flashing that charming smile I used to fall for. "You're in over your head, Rye. This isn't what you think. It's business. A chance to change things." I step closer, my fists clenched. Change things? By stealing from workers? By letting Lila kill a man? I heard you, Ethan. Stall him. You set him up. He runs a hand through his hair. a nervous tick I once found endearing, now just pathetic. You don't get it. Lila's untouchable. She'll protect me. Us? If you just back off. I laugh, sharp and hollow. Us? There's no us anymore. You killed that with your little voicemail, and now you're a killer too. His eyes darken and he lunges for the USB, but I'm faster, snatching it back and shoving him against the desk. Admit it, I hiss, my face inches from his. You helped her murder Greg. Before he can answer, his phone rings and he grabs it, his voice shaking as he listens. They know? Who leaked it? He stares at me, fury twisting his features. You did this, didn't you? The door bursts open before I can respond, and two familiar figures storm in. The same black-jacketed thugs from the diner, one with a gun already drawn. She's the problem, boss, the taller one growls, aiming at me. Ethan holds up a hand, his voice cracking. Wait, I can fix this! But I see the panic in his eyes, the realization he's lost control. I dive behind the desk as a shot rings out, the bullet shattering a window and letting the storm howl in. Glass sprays across the floor, and I scramble for the stairwell, my boots slipping on the shards as Ethan shouts, "Stop her!" I hit the fire escape, taking the steps two at a time, the metal clanging under my weight as footsteps thunder behind me. My shoulder burns where a bullet grazed me earlier, but adrenaline keeps me moving. Down 45 flights until I burst into the lobby, the rain-soaked night swallowing me as I run. Sirens wail in the distance, and I know June's out there, waiting with the next move. Ethan's not just a cheating bastard, he's a coward who'll let me die to save him. But I've got the USB, the recording, and a fire in my gut that won't quit. This isn't over, not by a long shot. I vanish into the Manhattan chaos, ready to bring the whole damn tower down with me. My boots slap against the wet pavement as I sprint through the rain-soaked chaos of Manhattan, the sirens wailing closer, their red and blue lights bouncing off the skyscrapers like a twisted carnival. I've just bolted from Ethan's office on the 45th floor, his panicked shouts and the crack of gunfire still ringing in my ears. The USB's tucked tight in my pocket, a ticking bomb of evidence. $50 million in stolen pension funds and a murder tied to my husband's name. I'm Riley Maddox, soaked to the bone, my green hair plastered to my face, and I'm not sure if the burn in my shoulders from that graze or pure adrenaline. I duck into an alley off 42nd Street, my chest heaving as I press against a dumpster, the stink of garbage mixing with the storm. Those thugs are still out there, Ethan's desperate pawns, but I've got no time to catch my breath. June's waiting, and this isn't over until I blow it all wide open. I fish my phone from my bag, my hands shaking as I text her, "Lost them. Meet me at the safe spot. We've got gold." Her reply pings back fast. "Staten Island warehouse, move." I shove the phone away and slip through the shadows, hailing a cab 3 blocks down, the driver barely glancing at my drenched figure as I mutter, "Staten Island, quick." The ride's a blur, the city lights streaking past like a bad dream, and my mind races back to Ethan's face, pale and frantic, the man I loved crumbling under the weight of his own lies. He didn't just cheat with Leila Grayson, he helped her kill Greg Parker, and now he's throwing me to the wolves to save his skin. The cab jolts to a stop at the ferry terminal, and I'm on the next boat across, the choppy water mirroring the storm in my gut. The warehouse looms ahead, a rusted hulk on the island's edge, its broken windows staring out like empty eyes. June's already inside, her laptop glowing in the dark as she waves me over, a pizza box open beside her because, even in a crisis, she's still June. "You look like a drowned rat," she says, shoving a slice my way, but her grin fades when she sees my face. "What happened up there?" I drop my bag, pulling out the USB with a grim smile. "Ethan's a dead man walking. He tried to grab this, then his goons shot at me. But we've got him, June. Play that recording again." She plugs it in, and Ethan's voice fills the damp air, shaky and scared. "Greg's got proof, Lila. He's threatening to go to the feds." Lila's cold reply follows. I'll take care of the rest, no loose ends. I lean closer, my heart pounding. There's more in here, dig deeper. June's fingers dance across the keys, her brow furrowing as she cracks another layer of the USB's encryption. The screen flares with new files, and she lets out a low whistle. Right. This isn't Ethan's drive. Look at the metadata. It's tagged to Greg Parker. He built this, not your idiot husband. I blink, the words hitting me like a punch. Greg's drive? How'd it end up in Ethan's drawer? She scrolls through, pulling up a log dated 2 weeks back. Greg was the Titan Fund's accountant. He tracked every dirty dime Ethan and Lila siphoned off. $50 million funneled into her campaign through offshore accounts. He recorded that call as insurance, probably planning to hand it to the FBI. Last entry's the day he disappeared. My knees buckle, and I grab the table, the pieces snapping together. Lila had him killed. Ethan must have found this after, kept it as leverage. I replay the audio in my head. Ethan's jittery tone, Lila's icy calm, and it clicks. Greg wasn't just a loose end. He was a threat big enough to die for, and this USB's his last stand. A grenade that landed in my lap. June's voice cuts through my haze. There's more. Emails from Greg to an FBI contact, unsent. He was ready to blow the whistle, but he never got the chance. I stare at the screen, my rage boiling over into something sharper, clearer. Ethan didn't make this mess. He just stumbled into it. Lila's the puppet master, and he's her fall guy. But now I've got the strings. I straighten up, my mind racing with a plan. Upload it all, June. Every file, every recording. Cloud backup, then blast it to the Times, Post, CNN, anyone who'll listen. We're not just taking Ethan down. We're burning Lila's empire to the ground. She hesitates, her eyes wide. Rye, this'll paint a target on your back bigger than Brooklyn. They'll come for us hard. I flash a dark grin. They're already here. Might as well make it worth their while. She curses but starts the upload, her laptop humming as the data streams out. A digital wildfire I'm about to ignite. I grab my phone, pulling up an anonymous Twitter account I've used for leaks before. My fingers fly as I type. Senator Lila Grayson and Ethan Voss stole $50 million from your pensions. Listen to them plan a murder. I attach the audio clip and hit send, watching the tweet ripple out into the void. Within minutes, retweets explode, Titan scandal climbing the trends as furious replies flood in. My dad lost everything. Grayson's a fraud. June's screen pings with confirmations, the files hitting newsroom inboxes across the country. It's done, she says, her voice trembling with adrenaline. You just declared war. I step to the warehouse window, peering through the cracked glass as the rain slows to a drizzle, the city skyline a faint glow across the water. My phone buzzes, a news alert. Breaking, Senator Grayson linked to $50 M pension fraud. I picture Ethan scrambling, Lila's perfect smile cracking on live TV, and for the first time since that voicemail, I feel alive, not just surviving. They thought I'd fold, I mutter, my breath fogging the glass. But Greg gave me the ace, and I'm playing it. June slaps her laptop shut, grabbing her bag. FBI'll be all over this by morning. We need to move. I nod, pocketing the USB. It's weight a promise now, not a burden. Ethan didn't just betray me. He handed me the weapon to destroy him. And Lila, too. The twist isn't that he's a monster. It's that I'm the one he never saw coming. I turn from the window, my voice steady. Let's disappear. Tomorrow they'll know Riley Maddox doesn't run, she fights. The warehouse door creaks as we slip out, the night swallowing us whole, but I'm not afraid anymore. I'm the storm now, and it's just getting started. The warehouse door swings shut behind us, its rusty groan swallowed by the fading drizzle as June and I melt into the Staten Island night. My boots crunch on the gravel, the USB a solid weight in my pocket, its secrets now unleashed like a wildfire across the internet. I'm Riley Maddox, still soaked from the storm, my green hair dripping as I breathe in the damp air, feeling the adrenaline ebb into something quieter, heavier. We've just dropped a bomb. $50 million in stolen pension funds, a murdered accountant, and Ethan's voice plotting it all with Lila Grayson, now blasting through every newsroom and Twitter feed in America. The city skyline glimmers across the water, a distant promise of chaos about to erupt, and for the first time since that voicemail shredded my world, I feel the ground steady beneath me. I'm not running anymore. I'm standing tall, and they're the ones who should be scared. We crash at a friend's loft in Queens, a cluttered artist's den with paint-splattered walls and a couch that smells like old beer. June sets up her laptop, tracking the fallout as Titan scandal trends worldwide, angry voices from coast to coast demanding justice. By morning, the story's everywhere. CNN runs the audio on loop. Ethan's shaky plea to stall Greg, clashing with Lila's icy command to end it. The New York Times breaks the offshore account details. $50 million traced straight to her campaign, while pensioners flood the airwaves, their stories of lost savings tearing at my gut. June scrolls through it all, her pizza forgotten, and mutters, "You did it, Rye. They're toast." I nod, staring at my reflection in a cracked mirror, a woman forged in betrayal and rain, not broken, but remade. 3 days later, I'm outside the FBI's Lower Manhattan office, the sun cutting through the October chill, as I hand over a copy of Greg's USB to Special Agent Cooper, a grizzled guy with a handshake like steel. "You're a damn hero, Maddox," he says, his eyes flicking to the scars on my knuckles from that skyscraper escape. "This blows the lid off everything." I don't feel like a hero. Not with Ethan's face flashing on every screen, cuffed at JFK, his briefcase spilling papers as he's dragged away. He's facing 20 years for fraud and conspiracy to murder, Lila's career's ash after resigning in disgrace, her trial looming like a dark cloud, the pension funds restored, $50 million clawed back for the people Greg died to protect, and my name's cleared, no longer a fugitive but a whistleblower who turned the tide. I walk away from the FBI building, the USB's weight gone, replaced by a strange emptiness I can't name. June catches up, her wild curls bouncing as she hands me a coffee. "You see Ethan's message?" she asks, her tone careful. I pull out my phone, the jail-issued email stark on the screen. "Riley, I messed up. Forgive me. Can we talk?" I laugh, a sharp, bitter sound that echoes off the concrete, and delete it without a second thought. "He can rot in there with his apologies," I say, sipping the coffee, its heat grounding me. I don't need his words. I never did. June smirks, nudging me. "That's my girl. Stronger than he'll ever know." We head back to Brooklyn, my new apartment, a small walk-up with a view of the East River, a fresh start carved from the wreckage. I stand on the rooftop that night, the city sprawling below, its lights a constellation of second chances. My shoulders healing, the graze a faint scar now, but the real wounds, the ones Ethan left inside, they're still raw, stitching themselves shut with every breath. I think about that voicemail, "I need new space," and how it sparked this war, how Greg's ghost handed me the weapon to win it. I didn't just take Ethan down. I dismantled Lila's empire, gave thousands their lives back, and proved I'm more than the woman he discarded. My phone buzzes, an email from the Washington Post, offering me a gig chasing a new scandal in Chicago, dirty money in big tech. I grin, typing back, "Count me in," my fingers steady for the first time in weeks. June joins me on the roof, 2 beers in hand, and we clink bottles under the starry sky. "What's next, Rye?" she asks, her voice soft but curious. I take a long pull, the cold fizz sharpening my resolve. Living, I say, leaning on the railing, and making sure bastards like Ethan pay, one story at a time. She laughs, the sound bright against the night, and I feel something shift, a weight lifting. I didn't know I'd been carrying. I dye my hair purple the next day. A bold streak of color in the bathroom mirror. A new chapter staring back at me. Ethan thought he could break me with a 10-second message, leave me shattered in that rain-drenched apartment. He didn't see the fire he lit, the storm I'd become. I step outside, the Brooklyn air crisp and alive, and spot a newsstand with my face on the cover of Time. The whistleblower who took down a senator. I buy a copy, not for vanity, but for Greg, the man I never met, whose fight I finished. I tuck it under my arm and walk on, the river glinting beside me, a mirror to the strength I've found. June's right. I'm stronger than Ethan ever knew, but it's more than that. I'm free, not just from him, but from the version of me that trusted too much, loved too blind. I think about Lila's fall, her polished mask cracking on live TV, and Ethan's cuffs, his charm useless behind bars. They underestimated me, saw a scorned wife instead of a reckoning. I stop at the water's edge, the city humming around me, and toss my old wedding ring into the current, watching it sink without a ripple. Good luck, Ethan, I whisper, a final goodbye to the man who started this, the man who lost everything while I rose. My phone pings again, a text from Cooper. Leela's cutting a deal, names dropping soon. I smile, a dangerous edge to it, and pocket the device. The fight's not over, not while there's corruption to chase, stories to tell. I turn back to the rooftop, June waiting with another beer, and climb the stairs, my steps light, my heart steady. Ethan's betrayal was the spark, but I'm the flame now, burning bright and unstoppable. The city stretches out below, mine to take on, one truth at a time.